Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Sports Bitches. My name is Rachel Panetta, joined by two of my best buds, Megan, Gailey, Sarah, Tiana. I don't even know where to start right now. My heart is broken. If you live under a rock, the Los Angeles Dodgers won the World Series this weekend, beating out the Jays. Positives, I think one of the best World Series matchups we've gotten in when? Sarah, you're a resident baseball expert. When was the last time you enjoyed a World Series games like this?
Never. Other than when my team won.
Sure. But that doesn't count.
But that doesn't count. I think it was like a very even matchup. Clearly, these were the two best teams to go at it against each other. For it to go into an 18-inning game and then extra innings on game 7 with everyone bringing out, starting pitchers to just seal the deal. Like it was, cover to cover, end
Meg,
to end.
I feel like, you take the floor because I'm depressed and you deserve to celebrate. Why don't you sort of give us a rundown of your experience?
Does she? Yes, of course.
I just don't want to be fucking sad the entire time, and I'll tell you about my night. But why don't you go?
So I do have to say, like, I came away from it really liking the Blue Jays. And, the Pacers were in the NBA Finals just a few months ago, and I came away from that despising the Oklahoma City Thunder because I just don't like the way they play basketball. And
Sure.
I do like the way the Blue Jays play basketball. I mean, play baseball. I bet
And
they can hoop.
basketball.
I bet they can hoop too.
I'm sure they're pretty good. At it.
I don't like George Springer. There's definitely some faces that I'm like, I'll be glad to not see them smiling again. But overall, like, to see Vlad sad made me sad. I do think you can say all the nasty things you want about the Dodgers, about how they paid for this and blah, 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 blah. And when it really came down to it, there were guys that are not the superstars that made this happen. And so that was so exciting to see. I do think the Blue Jays played better. Like, I think the Dodgers didn't hit well, didn't really defend that well, and just in really necessary moments were able to come through. And I have to say, as a resident of the city of Los Angeles, I know there's a lot being said about like how the owner is evil. And it's like, yeah, you're going to be hard pressed to find like a pure billionaire in 2025.
Yeah.
And the city of Los Angeles, we all know, has been through a lot between the fires and ICE absolutely turning the entire area into hell. And the Dodgers are the number one team. Like, people like the Lakers, there was a Kings game happening and I saw footage from people like finding out there. The Dodgers are number one. Are there
You mean in like the hearts of Los Angelinos?
100%. Like,
Yeah.
if you're born and raised in Los Angeles, you care about the Dodgers more than you care about anything else. And yeah, I'm one of those transplants that's like very annoying to people of like, oh, you've only been a fan for 11 years. And it's like, I totally get that. I lived in 2 other cities that had 4 baseball teams each, and I never latched on to those. And when I got to LA, they had the same colors as the Colts. And you go to that stadium, even though it's impossible to get in and out of, and it's so beautiful and so fun. And the atmosphere feels very family. And I love bringing my children to it. Whenever someone visits, I bring them to Dodger Stadium. And Japanese men are fucking awesome.
and hot.
Well said.
I will say, like, going into this matchup, I'm not walking away like necessarily upset that the Dodgers won. I'm upset that we lost. If that makes sense, because I don't hate the Dodgers. I love the Dodgers. I have Dodgers merch in my closet that I've not been able to wear for the last month. But just the way that, it really did feel like in a big sense that it was sort of like Canada versus US. And I feel like we have been feeling sort of, the little brother to the big brother, and with like Trump and all of this stuff, and Canada being, I'm just so proud of my country. I'm so proud to be Canadian. I miss my family. I was watching on FaceTime. My mom's feed was ahead of ours, so I made her hold her phone up to the TV so that I could watch like a couple of seconds earlier. And just like seeing my nephew fall in love with baseball, and like, no, do I watch every single regular season game? No, I don't, because baseball's fucking long, okay? And there's a lot of games in the season. But it's just really beautiful when something can bring together literally an entire country, because we don't have another MLB team. And so bringing together an entire country that are just like rooting for the same boys who are not from our country, it was just like something really, really special. But oh my God, you guys, on Saturday night, I got fucked up. I was at a wedding. And so, listen, we were all we were trying to be as respectful as possible, but it was also Game 7, and everyone knew that
and
I
the
was
day
like,
after
the only...
Halloween, which is like,
Exactly.
no offense to them.
Exactly.
That's a tough
It was a
weekend to have your
beautiful wedding. It was a beautiful wedding. But everyone sort of started to whisper, and everyone then found out that I was the only Jays fan in the crowd. And so we had our phones set up on our table, and then everyone just sort of started to like pile around. Like, a lot of people missed the first dance because it was going into extra innings.
What
We're
was
like, you
the
guys are going to do your
song?
first dance? And
Do you know the
couldn't tell
song?
ya.
Couldn't tell you. At
Couldn't tell ya.
last.
Yeah.
Let's just guess
Hey,
it was
can you
that.
guys turn it down a little bit?
Yeah.
Can you turn it down? We're trying to watch the
The
game.
organist. It's whatever the organ. Oh, do the Blue Jays have an organist?
I think so,
hope.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So anyways, what I want to tell you, the real story, is our server at our table was a huge Dodgers fan, and he saw, like, imagine having to work on that night. He saw that we had our phones set up, and he goes, "Oh, I'm going to spend some extra time at your table," and just literally would see my cup that I had drank a little bit of wine, and he would be pouring it again and filling it back up, because that was his second to sort of like check in on the score.
Yeah.
So I just had nonstop. I was also stressed, so I'm just like guzzling.
Wine?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a tough hangover.
After some margs, okay? So put those into the mix.
Yikes.
Yeah, barely ate.
Oh.
Also, you guys, because I'm so nervous about this game. So then, we lose. I start crying because I'm hammered, and I'm so, just seeing all of these sad people in the stands, and like everyone was screaming and so excited, and like, yeah, good for them. But I started crying, and then I couldn't stop. And Zach was like, "We should probably go home," and I was like, "Let's do that." Go home. Zach orders me Taco Bell. Don't eat it. Goes straight to the bathroom. It was one of those pukes. I don't know if I've told you guys this yet. And if you guys don't like puke stories, fast forward. Jump ahead like a minute.
How did you make it this long with us?
It was one of those pukes that you try to cover, but you don't make it in time. You try to like cover it. And so when I'm running to the toilet, just covered my mouth, and puke went everywhere. Zach came, and red wine puke. So it literally looked like a crime scene. Zach walked into the bathroom and turned on the light, and I said, "No, nobody needs to see this." And he's just like, "I honestly didn't understand how there was that much puke inside of your body."
Oh no.
And you guys,
at least you got it out that night though.
And
That's
thank God,
actually
I
good.
was
And in the
hungover as hell
bathroom, not the
yesterday.
Uber.
Yeah.
Sure, but to be honest, I've been cleaning up this puke for 24 hours now, and I still can't. If I was a billionaire, I'd say blow it up.
Yeah.
Light it on fire.
I puked red wine the night I got engaged. In my parents' house, in the bedroom that I'm now sleeping in with my newborn baby, and I gotta tell you, that stain is still there. And like my mom has gone to town. Like, she's done everything. Like, CJ's been in on it, my mom has been in on it, and like it's just gonna be on that neutral carpet until the big bang comes again.
Oh yeah, I got it on my shower curtain.
Oh.
Literally, there was a chunk on the ceiling.
Ew. We call
It
that
was bad.
CJ calls that a rocketeer. Because sometimes I can puke so loud. He says it sounds like my body is lifting off the ground like the Rocketeer.
Oh, I rocketeered all over that bathroom.
We FaceTimed.
Um,
You FaceTimed me.
I don't remember. I saw the photos, and I do not remember
Oh,
that.
we FaceTimed. You were really sad, and you were like, "I just want to tell you congratulations." Like, because I did feel bad. I felt terrible. I didn't want either of these teams to lose. I mean, I did. Obviously I did. But like, okay. Now let the expert speak.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I don't really feel like this was, I mean, it was definitely Canada versus the US in a way, even though like
Mhm.
I would say 90% of the Toronto Blue Jays team are all US
Oh, yeah.
citizens.
Mhm.
I feel like it felt a little bit more like David versus Goliath. And I think,
Mhm.
in a world where we feel like the middle class is disappearing and poor people can't get ahead and rich people seem to be getting further and further ahead. That's to me how this World Series felt, where it just felt like so much injustice for a team that spent $100 million more this season than the Blue Jays. But this is what they're paid to do. This is exactly who they are. And you're right, Megan. It was not the big money guys that were coming through. Mookie got moved down to number 4 in the lineup. Shohei was like 1 for 11, and he got pulled in the 3rd inning of that game. So as a pitcher, so the stars were not coming out. Yamamoto was the biggest shining star, and then for Rojas,
Totally.
the 9-hole guy, to come in and hit a home run this is a guy that's probably going to retire after this year.
I
This
didn't
is
even want him
only
out there. I'm like, get
yeah, it's
out of
only
here.
the second World Series game he's ever played in. And for him to come through the way he did, you know, definitely felt like his own David versus Goliath story. So
Mhm.
I think there are a lot of really positive things that happened, but that was such an insane series. Those last 2 games, if the ball doesn't get stuck underneath the wall in
They
Game
win. 6.
the Blue Jays win the World Series. I'm sorry, but that's what
Mhm.
happens. If Pages
Mhm.
doesn't come in Game 7 for what's his name that they moved to second?
Tommy Edman.
Edmund, yes, and like make that catch over Kike
Oh,
Hernandez, the game's over.
chills.
So it's like, there were lots of moments, there were lots of opportunities that the Blue Jays had. You have bases loaded with Kershaw on the mound, you could have ended it there. He's not the
The amount
Kershaw
of
of years
times
past. But
yeah,
the
the
Blue
amount of
Jays
times that the
did outscore the Dodgers 37-24, I believe. So it's like the Blue Jays definitely scored more runs. Their offense was way more powerful. And their defense was incredible. Some of those double plays that Vladdy,
Their defense was
caught,
way
oh
better.
my
it was
god,
it was
yeah.
like an
Yeah.
incredibly great. I mean, just as a spectator, it was an incredible series to watch, and I really was sad that somebody had to lose. I definitely
Mhm.
wanted the Dodgers to lose because they had just won one,
Yeah.
but repeating a World Series, I mean, that hasn't been done since the 90s.
No.
So
Mm.
that is also a feat in itself.
And
It
it's also like those moments where you're in inning what did that go to? 18? When you're in
Mhm.
inning like 17 and Yamamoto's like warming up to go back out. Like those are
Mhm.
the like yes, you can say like oh this is a, billionaires team, but like those are the
That's a
moments that make
dog. That's a
the
dog.
Yeah.
Dodgers really a lovable team.
Yeah.
And like I said,
Yeah.
I'm not upset at the Dodgers winning. I'm upset
No.
that we lost.
What the only person on the Dodgers I don't like is that one January 6th guy. Okay. Now,
Oh yeah, he
important
sucked.
question. And he was bad.
Trinan.
So it was like, okay, you pitch bad and you're bad.
And
Okay.
you're bad.
And your facial hair is tough. So important.
And you're fucking ugly.
Mhm.
And I was like I was watching a video of all the friends and family from the Dodgers go down the steps like to go out. And so then I was like screenshotting and seeing which wife went with which. And I was trying to like figure out who went with him. And then I was like, I actually don't care. Important question. As sports bitches, would we rather have Miguel Rojo's Van Cleef and Arpels gorgeous blue vintage Alhambra necklace, or would we rather have Yoshi Yamamoto's blue sapphire
I
almost
love
tennis necklace.
I loved the tenny. I loved the
Ugh.
tennis necklace. I also feel like there were some Jays players that, because we have the exact same colors, they had like some of the same jewelry. Like I feel like Kirk had that same tennis necklace. I'm going tenny. The Van Cleef I think is too much.
Really? Okay.
Wait, is this question from Daniel or is this
No,
question from
this
you?
question is from me and my jeweler, who's my husband.
Mm-hmm.
I said I'll take either.
What did you like? Yeah.
I think Kike had one, like a blue sapphire one, or he had like a rainbow one at some point. So much has been made about the Van Cleef Rojas one, which is like fun and a bold statement. Obviously, like you are
Yes.
wearing women's jewelry, which is kind of and like you don't ever hear him mocked in the way that like Caleb Williams is mocked for painting his nails. And I don't know if that's just like
Yeah.
a difference in like spectator.
Is it women's jewelry? I feel like it's like unisex.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I mean, it's definitely like Real Housewives wear it all the time. Like Van Cleef is like a Real Housewives staple. So then for a man who hit like the most clutch home run ever, to have it is funny. I love Yamamoto's though. I think that blue, just like choker almost, like it's a little bit looser than a choker. I'm like, this is so chic. Sarah, what's your pick?
I'm glad that I can go back to loving these guys because they really are so sweet and so cute.
As much as I love a good Van Cleef, it definitely does not feel like it belongs on a baseball field. It feels very bizarre, but it also feels very Rojas, who is just like his own unique guy. And I just wonder what Clayton Kershaw would say about a feminine necklace on a man.
Yes.
Is he gone? Is he retired now?
He is
retired.
retired.
Yes.
He is retired.
Yes.
And I do think for the sake of them winning, we've all just decided to be like, I'm happy he's happy with his family. You know, like everyone's like, we love you, Kirsch. And it's like, okay, sure. Now, Sarah, I think this is the biggest win is for Major League Baseball. Like this is the biggest news story. It's probably the only positive news story, especially as we're heading into like even more chaos during a government shutdown. Yeah. Big stars. Now, what is going to happen in the off season with this contract? Are they going to
everyone
get
keeps
this
on
done?
talking about this. There's going to be like a big meeting with Major League Baseball. Like, is there going to be a cap on a new like financial situation worked out? Give us the details.
Yeah, I'm actually not really sure. I mean, the Baseball Players Union is the most powerful union in all of sports. Baseball players always get what they want. They always have guaranteed money, unlike, the NFL, who they always have to fight for guaranteed money. Every Major League Baseball contract is guaranteed. People like Bryce Harper don't want a salary cap because Bryce Harper only cares about money, not about anything else. So that makes sense. I think there already is, in a way, a salary cap. I think it would be more of a level playing field if there was one. Like right now, we have what's called the competitive balance tax, which is called the CPT. And that means every year the threshold goes up. So in effect, there's a soft cap. So like say it's like $260 million. The first time you go over that, you have to pay 10% tax. The second year you go over it, you have to pay 25. The third year you have to pay 35. You know what I mean? So like a lot of teams will go over it for 1 or 2 years and then scale it back like the Braves did this year where we were under the CBT so that we can kind of start over and build be able to pay for extra players around your star. So I think there already is a soft cap. I think the most important thing to try to get in baseball is a minimum, is a base, because you have teams that just never invest. They never spend over $100 million when in effect, with revenue share, every team gets $160 million at the end of the year. I mean, that was just last year. Every year, the revenue share goes up. So it's like if your revenue share check is $160 million, but your payroll is $100, where's that money go? And that's before tickets. That's before ticket sales. That's before concessions.
Yeah,
that's before your parking lot.
Hot dogs alone is $100 million.
Let me just jump in and like symbolize this. This is a problem across all sports. There are the teams that are built with money, and then there's the teams that are built, like Moneyball. That they're very, very smart. They're very analytical with like who they draft, and like sometimes that team with money wins the World Series, but other times there's like a team like the Blue Jays who, when they signed Kirk, they signed him for $7,500 from the Mexican League. So it's that. And I will say, I might be anti-cap because I do feel like that does contribute to the storyline, to why we love sports. I mean, it's the storyline of life. It's like David Goliath. It's the rich versus the poor. It's the people who were born with a silver spoon in their mouth versus those who aren't. And I feel like that's what leads to hatred and rivalry, and that's what leads to Cinderella stories, which is like the best part of sports.
And to be fair, the New York Mets spent more than the Dodgers this year and didn't even make the playoffs.
Yes, and by the way, I just saw that Edwin Diaz is opting out of his contract, and Edwin Diaz is the Mets' big closer. If you remember, a couple years ago, he's the one that got injured in the World Baseball Classic. He was the most lights-out closer in all of baseball. So for him to open up his contract, he still had 2 years left to become a free agent, tells you he might be very unhappy with that organization. And that is Steve Cohen, who owns the Mets, just saying like, here, I don't care how much it costs. He's the richest.
Yeah.
He's the richest owner in all of sports. So he's just like, I don't care how much it costs. But at some point, you're like, all right, we're already tanking. I'm going to have to let go of Scherzer. I'm going to have to let go of Verlander, like send them to the Astros or wherever I'm sending them because like I'm paying all this money and they're not producing. And so I don't know where that's coming from. But, I think it has its good and its bad points. I'm not really for it or against it. I'm more in favor of a league, of a bottom, of a threshold that like organizations have to spend at least the equivalent of their revenue share. There's a reason that baseball teams don't go up for sale. Like they are money-making juggernauts. So
how do we get someone from the Major League Baseball Players Union into the WGA negotiating team?
Oh, jeez.
Because I'd like some guaranteed. I just want some health insurance.
Hello. Okay, but I do feel like there is a sense of, like you just talked about the Mets being the highest paid team. I feel like it's human nature to, like, what are you working for after that? I mean, there's special people like Shohei, who is like, this is the greatest baseball player we have ever seen in our lives. And he is going to produce because he's special. But I feel like there are a lot of guys that make a lot of money, and then that's all they really care about. And it's like, okay, well, I've made my check, and then now I'm going to show up and I'm going to play, and if I play great, then fine. But then there's guys on a team that don't make that much money, and they're hungrier. They're like, I just feel like that's human nature. There are shows that I've signed on to that I'm like, I don't give a fuck about this. This is a lot of money. And then I show up, I'm like, you already hired me, so here I go. And then there's other things that I like, I'll take less because it's something special and I'm excited about it. Is what I'm saying make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, I think there are certain organizations that you want to play for. Obviously, people want to play for the Dodgers. People want to play for the Blue Jays. People love playing for the Red Sox, like cities that like have a strong fan base where they are a diehard fan base. It's like this is all they care about. So I think you're gonna have that no matter what. It's going to be really interesting to see where these go with the negotiations. I think the bigger issue to me in sports, like I said, is the league minimum. But the reason the Dodgers have so much money is because they have the greatest TV contract in all of sports. And as someone who pays to watch tons of baseball games, the fact that I have to spend $200 a year on an MLB package and then a second $40 a month just to watch the Dodgers tells you that there is, I never used to believe in small market and big market, but there is small market and big market when it comes to TV deals. And the fact that individual teams have their own separate deals as opposed to Major League Baseball owning the rights to all the teams' games, to me is a big problem because it means the fans get blacked out. So how do you grow your sport when the fan can't even watch the game? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Why do you have
I
to
wanna
pay extra for some
scream.
teams and not for others? Like, none of that makes sense. So to me, Major League Baseball should own all of the TV rights to all of the teams. I doubt that's ever going to happen with somebody as powerful as the Yankees and the Dodgers, who have very favorable contracts.
Yeah.
Corporations are evil. And I mean, even Rachel, you saying there's some places where like they've already paid you and it's some of that, and Sarah's exactly right, is a reflection of who you want to work for. And so it's like that
Mhm.
transcends sports. It's like, hey, if you treat me like shit, I'm not going to work my hardest. But
Yeah.
if you provide a positive work experience surrounded by nice people who also feel like
Mhm.
they're being paid well and
Mhm.
treated well, and childcare and maybe a fucking sweet green lunch every other week, then like you're going to get a lot more production out of us. And I don't
Yeah, for
know
sure.
why bosses and companies don't know or care about
Realize
that.
that.
I
It's like
think
it's right
also
in front of you.
I don't really think that players themselves are not gonna, like, play as hard for certain, like, say you're on the you're on the Athletics, right? And you're like, "Well, this owner doesn't care about us. We don't even have hot water. We have to pay for sodas in the locker room." You know what I mean? Whereas, other teams you would, you can get a driver to work in your contract. I don't think that that is a reflection on the players. Players always play hard because sometimes the best way to get out of a situation like that is to get traded off of that team. And the better you play, the more likely you are to get signed by one of these big powerhouses, right? It's very similar to the transfer portal in college sports, right? If you don't get a big deal, for Ohio State, so then
Yeah.
you're a walk-on at East Carolina and you start lighting it up, you're probably going to get a scholarship to a bigger school. So,
But
and
even what you're just saying, they're gonna play harder so that they can go elsewhere. Like, I do
right,
feel like you can
right.
spend as much money as you want or spend as little as you want. I think it is about your experience and how they treat people, and it's so obvious that both the Dodgers and the Jays, there was a sense of, like, brotherhood, there was a sense of, like,
Mhm.
real friendship and family. I love that. I think it was the Dodgers, I don't think it was the Jays, but correct me if I'm wrong. One of the teams put out a post thanking the
Dave
wives.
Roberts thanked all of them in his post-game speech and
There
was
you
like,
go.
"You are the backbone. We could not do this without you." Also, I saw this. This is like a switch in sports, but while we're talking about women as a part of organizations, the Bills benched a rookie for disrespecting a female janitor. He
Hmm.
was a healthy
Love it.
scratch.
Amazing.
And Sean McDermott, I hope this wasn't like one of those NFL memes that was like a lie that was just like made for me and sent to feminists to get us excited about something. But he was like, yeah, no, he is. If you don't understand the impact that women have had on this organization, then you're not going to play here.
Yeah, I don't
Okay,
think
Sean
that
McDermott.
I think that, statistically, like, especially in baseball too, I think in a lot of sports, like, the players are the backbone and the players are, always putting themselves out there and being good. You saw this consistently in the World Series, just by the entire Blue Jays bullpen wearing 51 on their hat for
Mm-hmm.
Vesia and his
Mm-hmm.
family. There's a lot of respect when it comes to baseball. This is a long season. It's 162 games
Mhm.
before you hit the playoffs, which is, the most stressful time when you're at your most tired. So for everyone to be showing up and showing out, like Guerrero, like, coming to the game 7 wearing a female PWHL
Yes.
jersey is, like,
Yes.
it's sick. It's
Mhm.
awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
I think
it's
during
it,
Team
these are
Canada, like, he was
moments.
representing the women's hockey team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, she also scored the game-winning goal to win the gold medal for
Oh,
Canada in
fun. Yeah.
hockey. Yeah, she's like a legendary PWHL player. So, yeah, it's pretty incredible, like, what we saw these baseball players do for the entire World Series, and we got to see it for 7 games. And as a fan, like, no matter the outcome, I just wanted to see someone else win, but it doesn't mean that the Dodgers didn't fight for it just as hard as anyone else. And at the same time, sometimes their fight is a little bit more difficult because they're coming at it from a place where people expect them.
Hate
No
them.
one's expecting the Blue Jays, and the fact that they got there was really exciting. The Blue Jays expected the Blue Jays to be there. But even in the middle of the season when they had 90 wins, everyone was like, yeah, all right, we'll see,
Because they're
whereas
just
the
never in the
Dodgers,
conversation.
yeah, the high, coming from a place of high expectations is also a very difficult place to be when an entire city is like, you get paid to do this, you better be there. That's a really tough place to be. So for them to stick around and to never feel like they were out of it, even when they went down 3-1, was really incredible.
And
Or 3-2.
everybody's got you circled on the calendar.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to beat you when
I kind of want to go
you're the
home
best.
I want to go home for like opening day. It's going to
Opening
be so
day's
exciting.
fun.
I'm sure they're going to be having a parade. Are they not? I know that they didn't win, but sometimes they still will have like a
I don't
parade.
think we're going to have a loser parade. I
no,
really
we
don't.
had one. I tell you what, when the Braves first went to the World Series in 1991, it was our worst first year against the Twins. They were the two teams, the Braves and the Twins, had the worst record in baseball the year prior. And then both of them made it to the World Series the very next year. We both had parades after the World Series, even though we lost, and ours was just as big. Like, people just wanted to celebrate the team that they loved. It's not about saying, you lost. It's just to say, like, we thank you for giving us the gift of entertainment and for being the people that we wanted you to be.
Honestly, if anybody's going to do it, it is a Canadian team that would do that. But I will just say, I think that there is like an actual grieving process that is happening across the country right now.
Still in the grieving process from the Pacers.
Totally, totally.
And like, can you imagine if Vlad tore his ACL and was out for the next year?
No,
like it'd be like, there's just sometimes I get what you're saying, Sarah. And then I think sometimes you're just like, oh, I don't want to even talk about this. And you said we got 7 great games. We actually got 8. We got over 8 games.
That's true. Yeah,
they played so much.
One of them was 2.
They played the
2
innings.
Should we move?
I think that's another reason why I'm so depressed. Is let me just say this one last thing, and then we'll move on. But what an incredible postseason! Like, just from top to bottom, so many the Mariners almost making it in. Who is the other team that beat out that lost to the Dodgers?
The Dodgers
on the other
swept
side?
the Brewers.
Brewers having a fun postseason. Like, there were just so many incredible storylines, and I'm gonna miss baseball.
This is how I feel at the end of every baseball season, where I'm like, man, I can't believe I have to wait till pitchers and catchers report in March.
Now we get it. Should we go to spring training?
Sure.
It's very fun.
I've been.
Okay. What else? Football?
We'll talk about football. We will talk about football.
Can I just mention something that we haven't really talked about yet? And I didn't put this in our rundown, but Hugh Freeze, the Auburn coach, got fired, and he's like the 18th college football coach that's been fired this year. Everybody keeps getting fired with 2 years, 3 years, 7 years remaining on their contract. And I'm like, this is the greatest gig in the world.
$50 million.
Fired college football coach with years left on his contract. Like,
the delusion
the Penn State,
of these fan bases is
LSU.
Actually, and then there's been Brian Kelly got fired from LSU, and then there's been like lots of players, family members coming out and being like, he's a piece of shit.
Did you hear that story about when Matt Patricia and Matt LaFleur worked for Brian Kelly in college and up in Wisconsin or at some school, and he like invited them, the coaches, to his house for a party, and then just had them valet cars, and then was so disrespectful to them, even though they were just like assistant coaches. He had them like basically be workers at his party.
It's like, remember that?
It's like that scene in Coming to America with Hakeem when they have to go and work at Mr. McDowell's house.
Like what we were just talking about. Like, why are you treating people so poorly? So there was a thread that went viral of this guy who played for Brian Kelly at LSU and basically was like, I talked to him all the time. I always heard from him. And then he had like a medical issue that forced him to retire. And he was like, not only did I never hear from him again, he wouldn't even look at me when I would walk by him.
What?
Like, if
Yeah.
you are not doing for him, you are dead to him. The LSU player who passed away, very, very tragic situation around that. The family says they never heard from him. And it's just like, dog, that's like bare minimum. Like,
Yeah.
I will say when people get canceled and then the woodwork of other people that just pile on, which is happening right now outside of sports, Lily Allen's new album that completely details every single aspect of David Harbour's affair. And now Millie Bobby Brown, who's in Stranger Things, has come out with a sexual harassment suit, or not sexual, but a harassment suit against him.
Well, and the thing is about
everyone's piling on
about Brian Kelly. He's gonna work again. Like he's getting his contract paid out, and then he's gonna get another great job.
Although Urban Meyer never did, he's still not working again.
Yeah.
Well, he's working. He's literally on
that Florida job.
Yeah,
and that Florida job
the
is
hell you want.
open. You know what I mean?
I brought a Butterfinger in here.
I will say, Sarah, I saw you tweeting about this, and we were just talking about like TV rights. The fact that we had to wake up on Saturday morning and not get to enjoy College Game Day on the services that we have paid for, do pay for, so that we can watch specific things on ESPN is so fucking annoying.
Yeah, because not only do we pay for YouTube TV, I also pay for Disney and ESPN Plus and everything, and I still couldn't watch it on that. It's like, wait, why am I buying the backup just in case?
What was
and then
the
it wasn't
issue?
working. And then
corporations are evil.
I don't know, but then I used
as she eats her Halloween candy.
Minus
corporately evil.
Minus the Hershey company, who I believe makes this. Oh no, this is Ferrero. They're doing good work.
Then I was able to log in with Chris's login, so maybe it was just something that was wrong with my own login, but I was furious because I'm already mad. Whenever the Georgia-Florida game is happening, I'm coming in hot because I hate Florida so much. And so I already wanted to just watch us like hopefully get in a fight or something. And then it wasn't happening. And then I eventually got logged in. And then, like my friends who are Florida fans or who, related to Florida people are texting me, trash talking me because we're losing. And I'm like, we're a second half team. Like, shut up. And then while I'm still listening to like bagels and string cheese, people dressed up like bagels and string cheese, like dance behind me at the Masked Singer.
So ooh, I would want to read the string cheese. Georgia played Florida. You said you hate that fan base. I have a question for the group because my Indianapolis Colts lost to the Steelers yesterday. And luckily I couldn't really watch most of the game because I was so depressed about something else. And so I really didn't watch most of the game. And I also just didn't have a good feeling about it. And mostly
big win for the Steelers.
Shut up.
Big win.
Shut
no,
up.
I'm saying no because you guys have been so great. You were 7-1 going into this game.
So see how mad I get, and it's because I hate the Steelers. The Steelers are my number one, and I know the franchise is like good. They're always sound. They have the longest tenured coach. I understand all of that. Like I'm not even talking about the org. Okay, I'm talking about the fan base. I despise the Pittsburgh Steelers fan base more than any other fan base in all of sports. We're talking all of them. And so I was curious, who do you guys hate the most out of all the franchises?
Not to sound like a broken
record.
The
fan base?
Yeah, I'd say Browns fans. Like when the Deshaun Watson stuff happened and there was like a little kid holding a he's our quarterback poster. I'm like, your dad made that and is making a child. Like I hate Browns fans.
Okay. Can I be like the actual devil's advocate here? The Browns, I love Deshaun Watson. So the the Browns to me are a victim, and so it's like they're so beaten down. Their organization is so bad. Historically, in and out, like they're truly almost mentally ill to even like that team anymore, that it's like they're sad. They're so sad.
You feel bad for them. You feel bad for them.
I feel bad
I will
for
say
them.
it's a very specific group of Browns fans,
I
but
get what you're
those
saying.
Browns fans I don't like.
Yeah, because I have dear friends who were Browns fans, like diehard, that were cuckoo
Yeah.
bananas, and they stopped watching and they will never watch again, which is, kind of nice for them because they're not missing much.
Sarah, what do you got?
I don't it's really a toss-up for me between Florida Gators fans, especially in football, because I'm like, you guys are so delusional and you're still like talking about Tim Tebow. And I know like anytime like I give Tim Tebow shit, people are like, you just don't like him because he's a Christian. And I go, what? Like, no, I don't like him because he played for Florida. I think the whole state. Honestly, if it got chopped off of the United States and fell into the ocean, I'd be like, well, that's a tough loss, but we'll move on.
Okay, so to wrap up, Sarah, you have been having issues with little Tatum baby, sweet
Oh
baby
my
angel. What
God.
could he possibly be doing wrong?
First of all, he's eating more socks than the dryer. Like, I don't even know like how yesterday he threw up 2 socks. I don't even know where he got them. The other day he's trying to poop and like he keeps dragging his butt on the ground. So I got a poop bag to like pull the last of the poop out, but I pulled out a 12-inch long sock from his poop.
What?
Yeah, it went all the way through.
Ow.
I'm like, a penny was the least amount of my worries. Like this guy, every day the search and the poop is like a really fun, like, ooh, what did he eat this time? Some new toys in there. There's something orange or something yellow or something green. So anyway, very resilient. At least when he has a belly full of socks, he slows down a little bit.
A full tube sock pulling a full tube sock out of a butthole. Not on my bingo card.
No. I
Mhm.
do have a producer Daniel question if we have time
Oh,
for it and
okay.
if my computer
Yes.
allows. Okay, he said, what the hell is a trade deadline? They can trade during the season?
It's a great question.
Yes, there is a
Coming
trade
up.
deadline. It's usually 3 or 4 months or like whatever, like at the 40% mark of the season, right? Before or at the halfway point of every, at least it is in baseball.
Enough time for enough players to get hurt. It's like,
And
let's give 'em
enough
a
time
sec.
for your feelings to be hurt.
Well, the trade deadline is basically for teams to fill any holes, right? Because usually at this point of the season, you've got a decent amount of injured players, and players that you need. It would not be fun to watch if you didn't have these holes filled. So the deadline is an opportunity for teams to go out and fill those holes, essentially, with healthy players.
Yes. Yeah, and now with, we just saw a gnarly Jaden Daniels injury on Sunday Night Football.
We've seen some really bad stuff the last week.
Yeah, with Scatterbo, like people like that. So, there's a certain amount of roster spots on each team, and then when players get designated as injured, you have a free roster spot, and you can either trade with another team to get a player, and that usually involves a draft pick or some sort of money transaction, or you can get somebody who is just a free agent, like someone who never had a team to start with at the beginning of the year, or somebody from your practice squad. Usually it's just someone from your practice squad that gets moved up into an actual role. So you have
But sometimes you do have some crazy shit that happens, and it's very exciting.
Yeah, Joe Flacco got traded in the middle of the season this year from the Browns to the Bengals. So he had like a 2-hour drive to change houses. But it will be interesting to see what goes on in Washington. Like if they try to ride it out with Mariota. I mean, Kirk Cousins is just sitting there in Atlanta. He's not the Kirk Cousins of old, but he is at least up to the speed of the game. But the problem with Kirk Cousins is and this is what you should know, Daniel, as well, is that he has a contract where he is owed $40 million this year and next year. So whatever team takes him, they'd have to make some sort of deal with Atlanta to either pay all of that, a portion of that. I mean, no team's going to pay all of that. So
So the
Atlanta would
best
only
two jobs,
offload him.
the
Yeah.
best two jobs to have in sports: fired college coach or fired NFL coach, or be Kirk Cousins.
Yes, be
Right.
Kirk Cousins is right.
Okay, I have a sports bitch before we log off. And I will just, can I deem the city of Toronto and maybe even all of Canada our sports bitch of the week?
Yes, I think
'Cause
that's a good one. I also think Cardi B in Robert Kraft's VIP
Oh, that's funny.
place. What is that called?
Sweet,
There,
like a
the
sweet.
suite. Yeah, watching Stefan Diggs, like her boo for the game, getting him all riled up. That was really fun. And also Brad Marchand, who plays for the Florida Panthers. He won the Stanley Cup last year, but he went up to Canada this last week because his best friend, who coaches an under 18 team in hockey up there, that guy, his friend, lost a daughter to cancer. I think she was 11. So he left the Florida Panthers to go up and take over the coaching duties for his friend. I think that's a real sports bitch moment.
Okay. Yeah, fine. Okay. I
Another
like that.
Canadian,
Brad
but that's
Marchand.
still part of all of
Still
Canada.
again, all of Canada, Brad Marchand and Cardi B. Those are our. All right, guys, we will be back next week. I promise it will not be as depressing of an episode. We're going to be on the up and up, and I got to go clean some puke out of my bathroom. Love you. Bye.
Bye, bitches.